Congress today. Representative, good afternoon. Welcome back. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. That was pretty entertaining, guys.
Well, we do our best. When we don't have you Congress folk on, we're just basically talking movies and TV shows and eye patches and all manner of other. No, I mean, obviously, look, the last 2.5 weeks, I mean, Congressman, I know that you experienced Donald Trump 1.0. Donald Trump 2.0 is like 1.0 on steroids. What do you think about this administration in the first couple of weeks?
Yeah, well, I think they sent a memo about how important his first 100 days were, and there was a typo, and it said 10 days, because I think he's pretty much hit that quota already.
Man, oh, man. It's been going good so far. Let me ask you about this first. I mean, obviously, it's the story of the day until he makes more news because we're going at such breakneck speed. We had the press conference. We had the meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It's my understanding, Congressman, that you will be meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu as well. What are your thoughts on last night, the comments by the President of the United States, and what can you tell us about your anticipated meeting with the Prime Minister?
Well, a lot of interesting things happening in Trump world, and as you said, it's hard to keep up. It's kind of dizzying. We've gone from getting all kinds of calls about Elon Musk, looking into people's information, to building a resort in Gaza, to buying Greenland, taking back the Panama Canal, issuing tariffs on Mexico and Canada, and I think Trump's strategy is just to throw a ton of things at the wall. Some of them are going to stick, some of them aren't, but no one can keep up with him. And before something outrageous gets stuck in someone's crowd, there's something more outrageous to deal with the next day. But to answer your question on Netanyahu, certainly Trump and Netanyahu have had a good relationship. The Gaza thing, I would think, I mentioned all those other things because I would think that taking over Gaza and putting troops there is probably not feasible, but it may lead to some other type of negotiation. So I think he scares the hell out of people and then gets some other kind of.
Well, and by the way, Scott, I might have screwed that up because I was communicating with two separate congressmen in the state of Tennessee, and I know Congressman Kustoff is meeting with him tomorrow. You might not be, and so I apologize if that was weird to you.
I don't think it was on my schedule, but it's been a busy schedule.
That was it was totally on me. That was totally on me because we've got Congressman Kustoff coming on tomorrow, and they sent me something, and I thought it was from your guy, but that's on me. But the statement stands. I mean, I'm like you. Last night, I thought to myself, well, I'm a little uncomfortable with the idea of American troops on the ground, but if this is a matter of moving the needle in terms of the Arab nations around that region getting more involved and setting expectations on the part of the United States of America that they're going to remove the Palestinians and completely do a rebuild, then that's something that I can get behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trouble spot that isn't going to go away. I always say it's like a cancer. Unless you eradicate 100% of it, it's going to come back. And Hamas, unless they eradicate Hamas from Gaza, it's going to come back. So, I think he's got everyone's full attention.
Congressman Scott DesJarlais is with us talking about the first couple of weeks of the Trump administration and what the House of Representatives is preparing to do and what they've have done to support the president's efforts. Talk to me a little bit about reconciliation and the possibility that it might not go quite as smoothly as we originally thought, Congressman. It's my understanding that some budget hawks in the House are kind of holding out for a few more concessions. I mean, we see this in the midst of a lot of activity going on with the DOGE program with Elon Musk and Trump's administrative branch trying to eradicate as much wasteful spending as possible. Are you expectant that we will get a reconciliation bill across the finish line sooner rather than later?
I think we will get a reconciliation bill sooner rather than later. Remains to be seen. I think that I look at this term a little different than some of my previous terms. Tennessee's a very red state. I'm a very conservative voter. But I think that this is a national mandate. It's bigger than Tennessee 4, and I think we need to push forward Trump's agenda. We've just been through a disastrous 4 years where we had a president that did less in 4 years than Trump's done in 2 weeks. And is everything going to be perfect? No, but is he going to move the needle and move things in the right direction? How can he not? I mean, the country's literally circling the drain, whether it's economy, national security, the border immigration problem, fentanyl, you name it. I mean, everything was headed in the wrong direction. So, I think that our team needs to get on board. We've got people in our conference that are holding out for a better deal, and I think the longer we wait, the more damage we do. We need to move. We need to trust the president. We need to trust the American people who voted for him. And I'm not saying that he doesn't need to be questioned, but it needs to be done so in a constructive fashion, and we need to do it behind closed doors and come to a consensus. And don't let perfect be enemy of the good. We got a lot of work to do in a short time to do it.
Obviously, he's been running at breakneck speed with the executive orders. At the same time, it occurs to me that Congress maybe is kind of looking at the executive branch thinking, boy, we need to go ahead and codify some of these things within the law so that they cannot be reversed down the road. For example, Congressman, I think it's a wonderful thing, the ceremony that was held at the White House today. Tennessee's own Riley Gaines was there in attendance, got called out by the president for her work in trying to protect women's sports, and he signs this executive order. That's something that I would think, man, the Congress maybe follow up on. Are there other matters that you guys are looking at from a congressional standpoint that you think very important to go ahead, follow up on, get it written into the law so that it is a permanent part of the American fabric as opposed to something that could be changed by the next president of the United States?
Yeah, as much as we can. We've seen that pendulum swing back and forth, whether you want to talk about the Keystone Pipeline. Trump turned it on, Biden turned it off. And, same thing with the Green New Deal and Paris Climate Accord and, so many other things that just from administration to administration, it flips back and forth. And so nothing is ever permanent or stable. And honestly, since, going back to Obama with his phone and his pen, that occurred because Congress quit legislating. You can't get along. You don't have the House. You don't have the Senate, or, you have half and half, and nothing happens. And right now, we've got an opportunity with the House, Senate, and White House, like we did in 2017, to get things done. And if we don't learn from the mistakes we made then when we accomplished basically the Trump tax cuts, then, it's going to be a real missed opportunity, because I don't think people are going to give us a second chance. The midterm elections are always, kind of a bellwether of whether we're doing a good job or not. And right now we can't fumble the ball. We've got to codify these things through the legislative process, or as you say, in 4 years, Trump's a lame duck president. We don't know what's going to happen. And with the flip of a switch, it can all be changed. So all the above, basically, on most of these executive orders, they need to be codified through legislation. And we really need the American people to engage their congressmen and say, these things are more important than your local politics in your local district. This is about saving America. I know all politics is local and how Tennessee feels about a lot of things, but I feel like our calling is higher now than just our district. It's got to be a national effort.
Congressman Scott DesJarlais for a few more moments on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What with DOGE and Elon Musk given the task by the president, there's a lot of liberal freak out going on. A lot of your colleagues in Washington, D.C. are, it's an unelected. I don't understand what they don't understand about Article 2, Section 1, that clearly defines that the president of the United States is the CEO of the executive branch, and he can designate those individuals that he wants to look into this. But more importantly to me, Scott, are you conservative-minded congressmen and women looking at this as kind of a reset? Because it occurs to me that y'all have been left in the dark largely with a lot of these programs. USAID comes to mind, right? Where they act as if they are above the legislative branch, the purse strings, and they don't answer to you guys.
Yeah, I think the people screaming the loudest in USAID are the ones that are abusing the program. It usually works that way. We voted already to cut it by 50%. I don't know if it was last Congress, but I find it interesting that we had a deluge of calls to our office, and I think a lot of them were staged. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe your callers will correct me, but all my conservative contacts that I've had over the years, not a single one called and complained about Elon Musk snooping around the Department of Treasury, because they thought, well, he's not even elected. Well, to my knowledge, there's 435 of us in the House, 100 in the Senate, and the President that are elected here in Washington, maybe some federal judges. But everyone else is looking at your data right now, whether it be the IRS, the DOJ, the FBI. What makes you feel better about them having access to your data than Elon Musk, looking at things? Those people are unelected bureaucrats. They're the swamp. They're the deep state. So I don't understand their fear and argument. I think they're just freaking out because he's shaking things up. And why would anybody in America be opposed to rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse, whether it's in food stamps, whether it's in USAID, whether it's in the Department of Defense? If they can go in there and find the $300 hammer, the $800 toilet seat, USAID funneling money to terrorists, buying $15 million of condoms for Hamas and sending them to Gaza, if we can find that stuff and get rid of it, who would object to that? I mean, why are their heads exploding over trying to change the way things are done in Washington when they voted for change?
Who are you, any agency or any organized effort? I mean, I know that the Senate involves confirmations. We had Pam Bondi confirmed as the Attorney General, obviously Pete Hegseth as the Defense Secretary. Is anybody exciting you any more than any other, any program from the executive branch? Obviously the tariff deal is a huge one, Scott, and I'm curious your thoughts on that and the waning moments that we have. As a negotiation tactic, I think Donald Trump clearly was the victor on that front. What else in D.C. is kind of has you excited about the first 2 weeks?
Well, one, the Senate is sticking together and they're confirming his nominees, whether it's Marco Rubio, Kristi Noem, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK. They asked me to come on because I was a physician. I didn't want to touch that one because he's got some, views that are, a little strange to me on vaccinations and whatnot. So I thought, no, thank you. But the point is he picks people that are going to push his agenda. If they don't, I'm not saying they have to be yes men or yes women, but, for the most part, they believe in what he is pushing and selling. So the people that he nominates, like his comment to the Department of Education, if you do your job right, you won't have a job because they'd like to eliminate the Department of Education, which has been around since 1977 and hasn't seen any improvement in math, reading, or science. And so, why do we have these bloated government bureaucracies when the states could handle things better? So I'm excited about the fact that somebody ran on something, was elected by the popular vote in an overwhelming majority, and then is actually doing what he said on the trail. There's not a thing he's doing that he didn't talk about doing. I think people are just freaking out because it's happening so fast. So I'm just excited at the pace. AOC called Elon Musk one of the dumbest billionaires she's ever seen. I'm thinking, he's the Thomas Edison of our times. And who is AOC? So, I mean, it's entertaining. I was in the chair today listening to debate where we're trying to fix the fentanyl program. Our problems, and McGovern from Massachusetts is bringing up all the pardons Trump did, everything but fentanyl. So every chance they get, they're just trashing Trump. And I think that I don't really expect them to work with us, but there are Democrats that are moderates that I think will come around because they see the same problems with the country. I'm really excited about what we're going to do on defense. There's no better time to pick up the pace and speed up acquisitions and keep pace with China, because we haven't been doing that because we're big, bloated, deep state federal bureaucracies, and they're trying to change that, and I'm excited about it.
As always, great stuff, Scott. Enjoy the conversation. Come see us when you're around Nashville, and we'll talk again very soon. Take care.
I got to see that eye patch.
Come on, 8:35 tomorrow morning. Talk TV. Dan Mandis. He'll have it on.
All right.
All right, see you, brother.
All right, thank you.
There you go. There's Representative Scott DesJarlais excited about the eye patch.